Hiya, it's Chris Duke here and welcome to the Peer Project. Now, before I dive in today, I do want to do a wee bit of housekeeping. Now listen, between these two incredible guests that I've got on the show today, they've got over 4 million followers combined. So you cannot blame me for having to mention everything in this opening bit, okay? So if you've stumbled across this episode because of them, welcome, hello, welcome to the Peer Project. I am genuinely so glad that you're here. To those of you who have been with me for a wee while, watching, listening, messaging, commenting, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I mean seriously, I appreciate every single one of you. You make it all worth it, if I'm being honest with you. Now, to my amazing Supporters Club members, you guys are legends. Let's be real here, you are legends. Your support means the world, and listen, I'm going to be honest with you here, okay? Everybody who's signed up for it so far is either, like a friend or a member of my family. And whilst I absolutely adore them, I'm really hoping that maybe, just maybe, this is the week where somebody I don't know signs up. A total stranger. That would blow my mind, if I'm being honest with you. So if you're listening, if you're watching this and enjoying what I do, if you want to help me keep doing it, then have a wee look at the link in the description. Now listen, no pressure. But also big pressure. No, well, joking, kind of. Right, so this week is an absolute belter. I sat down with Nicole and Jodie Dyer, two brilliant, bold, hilarious women who opened up about Tourette's, TikTok fame, online trolls, tattoos, and everything in between. It's a raw, honest, and real conversation, and I cannot wait for you to hear it. And there's so much more still to come. I've got some big guests lined up, more really deep chats, and more of those moments where you think, oh wow, I thought it was just me. And lastly, before we head over to the interview, if you enjoy this episode, then please leave a wee review. It genuinely helps lift us in the algorithm. A like, a comment, a share, all those tiny clicks help this grow and reach people who might really need to hear it. Okay, enough of me. Let's get into this. By the way, I love your tattoos.
It's her newest tattoo. It's her first ever one.
Oh,
How old are you?
18.
She
18.
just turned 18.
Oh, my
It's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Yes. It's a good addiction.
Yes, I 100% agree. A lot of it is for me and for my knowledge because I don't know much about like Tourette's and that sort of stuff. So
You were 90% of the population at this point, Chris.
yes, I am aware, and I seen a few for some reason, obviously because we've just became TikTok friends.
Yeah.
A lot of your content is now on my FYP, so a lot of stuff, and I mean the way you respond to some of those negative comments are just. Like there was one that came up on my feed today about a woman who, I assume, Nicole, you have tried praying. Have you tried praying?
Oh yeah, have you tried praying to pray it away? Yeah. Like that whole, you remember back in the day when it used to be like pray the gay away?
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous that we have gone, we have our ups and downs of it, don't we? But we have gone through so many comments of like stupidity. Isn't there? We go from stupid to hate to just sometimes.
I do slip about. Sometimes I get a message and it's like, oh, it's going to be okay. Just look to Jesus. Or it's like one time where they're like, oh, you need an exorcism. And I'm like,
yeah.
So one thing that I won't say concerned about, so there's no concern here, right? However, not knowing about Tourette's and not knowing that stuff, and I've got ADHD, I've got mega rejection sensitivity dysphoria, and if somebody says something to me that may seem a bit insulting or point out something about me, then it may it might stay. And I'm I say I'm worried, right? But if you were to do like Tick right now and go, look, you've got no teeth, that's fine. I'm aware. Is that what the tics are? You're explaining to me what is that?
If she was ticking now, I think the main thing she would probably tick is you're bald. So
this guy here?
That would be a tick.
But it's not potentially what I'm thinking. It's more observational. You know what I mean? So I'm not actually thinking like, oh my God, he's bald. Like, it's just that I'm not thinking.
Yeah, you're not thinking it. It's almost like so she has almost like we call them like almost observational tics. Like we've explained it millions of times. If she sees like a yellow car or something like that, she'll be like, "Oh, sunshine," and it's a bit like It's a bit like a
like linked,
like word association type thing. But then things like, to try and help put it into context a bit with how she tics and what tics come out. If we're going to the airport, you know, in your head, everybody knows all the things you're not meant to say at the airport. You're not meant to talk about bombs. You're not meant to talk about drugs. You're not meant to talk about being kidnapped. Do you know what I mean? All those basic things that were kind of drilled into us never to say at the airport. Don't even joke about it because they don't find it funny. Terrorists, anything like that. When she's ticking at the airport, she ticks things, and she has done it millions of times because we travel quite a lot. My mum and dad live abroad, so we are at the airport a fair amount of time. And so she has ticked hundreds of times. The plane is going to crash when we're on a plane. She has ticked. My mum's got cocaine in her bag. She has ticked. Don't think she ticks.
I got a bomb.
I've got a bomb. Yeah, I've got a bomb in my bag. As we're going through security.
How does that get taken by the folk at the airport?
So normally I jump in, don't I? Because she's still at that point where I'm trying to get her to kind of advocate for herself.
To me, I'm very like, I'll never forget the day that woman came up to me with her dog. And I was like, I'm going to kill it. And I just didn't say to her, sorry, I've got Tourette's. I'll just continue.
I left her because I thought she needs to start speaking for herself. So usually in these situations, I jump in, especially at the airport, because it's serious. And you have your lanyard, don't you? So she has a Tourette's lanyard with like a medical ID card on it that says I have Tourette's syndrome, blah, blah, blah. So normally I'll jump in, I'll be like, I'm really sorry. She doesn't mean that. She does have Tourette's. We've got a card, yada, yada, yada. And they're normally really cool. We've never actually, touched words, never had a problem with like police or security or anything like that, have we?
No.
But I've tried to, like she was just telling about that story then. I thought to myself, that was the first day I thought, I'm going to leave her and I'll see if she says it for herself and tries to speak for herself. She didn't. And this woman walked away and I was like, that poor woman, the story she must have gone home telling people, because she obviously didn't know Nicole had Tourette's, and she was just sort of looking at Nicole really oddly, like this nice young child is fussing her dog and saying, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Oh my God, that's bad. And you know, that's why I'm so glad to be talking to you, because these are all things that certainly I don't understand. And I know there's maybe a whole bunch of other people out there that don't understand it as well. And yeah, okay, we're sitting here, we're having a bit of a laugh just now. But I mean, surely it's not all, tics, swears and giggles, is it?
No. And actually only, and we keep repeating this, we try and make people understand that only 10% of people with Tourette's actually have the swearing tics, which is coprolalia, which is where you do swear and you are obscene and you say obscene things.
Because when I first started ticking it, I didn't swear. It was my first 7-hour tic attack when I started swearing. And before that, I wasn't swearing at all. I didn't swear.
No. Which was one thing I was grateful for as a parent with a 13-year-old that's got tics, that they weren't swearing, because to anybody in the outside world, it just looks like I've raised a really, like, without being horrible, chavvy, common, poorly brought up child that's allowed to just swear and be rude to your parent, when that isn't the case. She literally had you've got no control, have you? So yeah, she didn't have them to start with. And then unfortunately, the downside of having Tourette's is, yes, we share all the funny, hilarious tics about Shrek and all the other stuff that she tics. But she does have tic attacks, and roughly, they're not as bad as they were. They
were worse, but they're just not as long. I don't
know. So roughly, average is about an hour, and for that is a long time in the grand scheme of things. When you're, I don't know if you saw the end of a video that I posted the other day. Nicole has started to let me post bits about her.
The thing is, I'm still a human. I still have feelings. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit self-conscious. Like, it's all well and good being like, oh, don't be embarrassed about who you are. It's still like, I still get embarrassed. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think like post and tic attacks, like obviously it needs more attention for it, and people need to know what it is and what it's like and what I go through. However, I don't personally like being that vulnerable on social media while showing what I go through. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit like, no, I don't like it. But only recently have I just been like, yeah, that's okay, that's fine. Like, we'll sit and go through it, and I will like check the video to see if it's okay to post.
But we've always done that anyway, haven't we? I've always checked with Nicole before posting certain things or doing certain things, because she's obviously, when we started this journey online, she was 13, 14, very young. And now obviously she's a young adult at 18, which is kind of scary. But you need to start advocating for yourself.
I just shit at it. Really because I think they don't think, because I just won't think at all. But sometimes I just get really nervous with saying it, because you never know what to respond. Like, you don't know if you're going to get like a jokey, like, haha, funny, next joke. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going, oh yeah, I've got Tourette, sorry. They might be like, yeah, funny, next joke. Because the thing is, people do say it. And there have been a few videos I've seen with people running around with their friends, and they're recording going, oh, sorry, he's got Tourette. He doesn't. He's just being a bit of a knob. But you know, we see Joe Brown saying that they've got Tourette's. And the thing is, in some TV shows, there's people that say, oh, it's all right, he's only got Tourette's. He hasn't. They're just saying it as a joke. So they kind of like make Tourette's out to be a joke, when really it's quite serious at times, which is why it needs more attention. But again, I'm not.
But that's something that's very common in media anyway, is that we only really see the funny side of it. I mean, there was a video when I was younger. Our kind of look at viral videos when I was younger was completely different. But there was a video I got emailed from a BBC TV show, and it was people, and I don't know if you've seen it, but people in Scotland with Tourette's, and there was one particular guy who would literally, and the phrase is etched into my head, and it's just, and he's going, your dogs get tits, and he says it just like that, a pure broad Scottish accent, and that's, it's funny. It's funny to hear. But what is a tick attack? You're talking about you're a 7 hour one, an hour one. Like, what is an attack on a tick? I'm curious to know.
So everybody is different. This is the main thing about having Tourette's. It's like a fingerprint. Everybody is individual. So we're all humans. We've all got fingerprints, but we're all completely different. And that is very, very important to get across with Tourette's. So one person's tick attack will look completely different to somebody else's.
Someone's tick attack might look like my daily tick.
Her daily ticks are what we deal with every single day, but someone else might say that is their version of a tick attack because they have very mild Tourette's. Do you want?
Right.
Whereas for Nicole, unfortunately,
mine are quite violent, and that I make my forehead bleed. I've ripped hair out. I've tried putting my fingers into my eyes to rip out my eye. I punched myself in the face. I gave myself like a little, it's like a bruise, wasn't it, on my eye? Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I've hurt other people. It's a lot. It's very violent.
It's her whole body is ticking. So Tourette's, it's a combination of both vocal and motor tics. So to have Tourette's, you have to have both the motor and both the vocal. Nicole obviously has that. But when her tick attacks come, it is a lot of motor tics all at once, all through her body. Almost like you're having a fit, if you like. Thrashing around, like she said, she hits, she punches. She doesn't actually, I don't think through it, she's really fully aware of what she's actually doing, because it is so quick, and it is a constant smash. There is no let up in between. It is very extreme.
But I think also with the crimes, I do cry, because the thing is, I can't tell you what's hurting. I know that it's hurting, but I couldn't tell you where, because I think my body's in such shock that everything is just happening all at once. So there is a lot going on, and like there's so many times that it's put me in hospital, and it's not been great. You know, from 13, I'm being put into hospital because of my condition. Like, it's not nice, and I think it needs more
awareness, so people start to understand, which is essentially what we've been doing all this time. But I do feel like I'm smacking my head against a brick wall at times.
Especially on the internet as well. That actually, just funny you should bring that up, because I do want to ask you about, and it's a really specific comment that I seen again today because I was scrolling. Yeah. And there was somebody who had commented and saying, how do you catch it? Now listen, right, before you respond, right, me being devil's advocate, in my head, I'm thinking, you know, maybe she's asking, you know, how do you catch it, in the sense of, do you feel it coming, and then you can maybe catch it. That's what I got from it. But obviously, on your side, I think you've maybe got the right side of it, going, you know, do I touch you? And that's me. I've now got Tourette's. But so my question is, and can you feel it coming? Like, if you know if a tic's coming, can you feel it, and can you, for lack of a better term, catch it? Like, and I don't mean catch it as in physical. You know what I mean? Just
feeling it coming. It's like
You've explained it like a busy bottle. Yeah, haven't you? Don't do that movement. Sorry. You speak like a fitting. God. What? You've just lowered the tone drastically.
Yes, like, you know, when you get like a can of Coke or something, and you shake it, and then when you open it, it fizzes open. It's crazy.
That it's got to bury out, size it out where you take the lid off.
I can't really hold it in. I can hold it in for short periods of time. Probably maybe a minute is my longest, because it hurts my chest, and my chest starts hurting, and it feels like a weight on my chest. So I can't hold it in for long. I can't feel the tics coming. They just happen. The tic attacks gradually, like my tics will gradually get worse, which will then turn into a tic attack. You can't catch it. It's not an illness. I'm not sick. The amount of times I actually can't remember.
Yeah.
I hope you get better soon. I'm not sick. I'm not like, I don't need a get well balloon. I'm fine. I'm not going to get better, unfortunately. But you can't get sick, because you just can't catch Tourette. Otherwise, she would be the first one that was going to get it.
So the only other thing about the catching, the only way I would say that it can appear that way is when you are around we've got lots of friends now from being on social media that have got Tourette's. I don't know if you've seen Josh, which is the Tourette's barber, one of our very good friends. Glenn, he's got Tourette's. Uncle Tics, New Zealand, he's got Tourette's. They're all friends actual friends of ours. And unfortunately, when people with Tourette's or tics are with other people with Tourette's or tics,
pong, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
It is crazy.
But also, because Josh is obviously our friend, and he actually cuts.
He is low HR, so he likes to
cuts everyone's hair. But there's sometimes where obviously I want to go see him because we're friends with him, but sometimes we do message and we're like, right, I can't see you today.
We're having a bad,
I'm not having a great day. Tourette's, like, can you I'm just like, yeah, cool. He's like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, so it's nice that we have that kind of bond where I don't have to be like, I'm sorry, you know, not feeling pain. Like,
yeah.
But it is crazy when you are with someone with Tourette's. It's literally just ping pong, and it can go on for hours.
Yeah.
And do you get that response then from your friends who don't have Tourette's, or maybe don't understand it, that when you're like, no, sorry, I can't see you today because of, you know, I'm having a bad day? Do you get like a positive response from them as well? Do your friends get it and understand it?
Friends are literally the most supportive people I've ever met in my life. Annabelle is one of my best friends, and we went to school together, and she was probably my rock from year one. She was brilliant. She's literally amazing. I could never fault her. She was always there. If I had a really bad day, like, she was always there. But if I don't want to see someone for one day and I'm like, sorry guys, I'm not feeling great, they're like, okay, we'll check in with you later, like, hope you're all right, whatever. But they are so good. But I think each individual friend I have, they react to my Tourette's very differently. Sometimes, like, there's a couple of friends that just ignore it. They don't like acknowledge it. Annabelle, my best mate, she laughs. She'll have a bit of a joke with me. But everyone is quite different. They all have different reactions to how I'm ticking, or the kind of days I'm having. They all have very different reactions, but they're all very supportive.
Yeah, you have got a good group of friends, to be fair now. They're all pretty supportive about it and understanding. And like, for Nicole, growing up, trying to have a normal teen life and wanting to go into town with her friends and things like that, me as a mum being very aware that if she started ticking, was she going to be okay? Could they advocate for her? Because she wouldn't be able to advocate necessarily when she's ticking. Like, they were friends that their friends all knew to have my number so they could message me on behalf of Nicole if Nicole was struggling or whatever. So you've actually been they
were so good. And if we went into town and stuff and I was really struggling, they tried so hard to include me so I could stay longer. Because obviously it did suck. Like, I wasn't able to go and do the normal team things because I was struggling so much at certain points, because my Tourette's goes up and down about how bad it is. So at certain times, so it was difficult not being able to do certain things like any other teen. But it was so good with supporting me and making sure that I could do all the things, as they were always there and they always knew that they
this would have been a completely different discussion and interview had Nicole been ticking right now. Like it would have been. We've had different times when we've been on podcasts where you've been ticking and it's a completely different.
The thing is, if you don't know me, because I've always said that I can hear it, that my voice slightly goes a little bit higher when I'm ticking. So I can hear the difference. You can hear the difference. All of my friends can, family can. But the people that don't know me, if like someone was asking me a question and I answered it, but I was ticking, they would just take the answer that I was ticking. They wouldn't even think that I was answering the actual question. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult doing some podcasts when I'm actually ticking because they don't think.
That was the problem when she was at school level doing her GCSEs. I was offered to have a scribe if she was ticking. And I said that would be completely pointless unless that scribe knows Nicole, because unless you know her, they're not going to know what thing to write down. Because if she's ticking, and that's obviously when the scribe would come into play to be able to finish her exam notes for her or whatever, they need to know when to write which bit she's saying because she'd be ticking. So it wasn't... Go on.
Yes, how was school life for you then, Nicole? Because being a teenager is hard enough, right? Being a teenager sucks, right? Being a teenager, I've got 3 girls in the house, and being a teenage girl sucks. But being a teenage girl when you are, quote unquote, different, from everybody else. How was that for you? How was teenage life for you?
So my school was brilliant.
Fab.
They were great. I was really close to my head of year. They were so supportive. Like all of my teachers, we all bonded very well. Like if I needed to leave the lesson, because in my head I was like, I don't want to disrupt everyone else. Like I was very good with getting the work done. Because I have FND as well. Because of my FND, so it's functional neurological disorder.
Thank you. I was about to ask. I wasn't sure.
Because of the trauma to my brain, because of my Tourette, it pretty much just shuts down. My whole body shuts down. So I'll either pass out or a joint will lock. So my hand will lock like this or my feet will. So when it was getting too much, if I passed out, the first thing I would say would be, where's my book? I need to write some stuff down. Because I'd still be listening to the lesson while I'm passed out. So I was always quite good with getting my work done. Would you say, Mother?
Yeah, to be fair, school, and I would say to any parent listening to this that have got a child with tics or Tourette's, if school are not supportive, I know it's disruptive, but move schools, because it makes such a huge difference to how the school were. We moved during lockdown. Moved house 2.5 hours away from where we were. And when we went to that school, we obviously had a meeting with them. They knew she had Tourette's and etc. And they said they didn't have any students with Tourette's. They did have a student with tics, but not Tourette's. It was only only a few. Unfortunately, when we got there for this first meeting with the head of year, the deputy head, there was a whole room of these people. She was ticking.
Oh goodness!
It was just so bad. He was like, "Are you looking forward to coming next week?" She was like, "Fuck off."
No.
I was like,
they thought it was hilarious though. They actually did. My head of year thought I was brilliant.
She was like, I cannot wait for this girl to start for it's going to be carnage.
It was so great. And then when my head teacher retired, we obviously got a new head teacher, and the head teacher came over to me and was like, you're Nicole, right? You've got Tourette. And I screamed at him and I was like, nonce. And then he was like, nice to meet you. I was like, nice to meet you, sir. How are you? And with normal chat. But the school was brilliant. I honestly couldn't fault them. They were so good. And I think they all knew and understood me, that if I wanted to go do something and if I needed to go take time out, they knew that I would go take time out and then come back.
But I would like to say, because you didn't take the piss.
No.
That is why they were so good. She would always be there. She was actually a very conscientious student about getting stuff done. So it's not like she's ever... In fact, she's never used Tourette's or her tics as an excuse or a reason or used it in any way to get out of doing something or to get something. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You've actually never done that.
No.
So I think school, because they knew that she would always be there and she could be there, there was most days I would have to collect her from school because her tics were too much.
It was just a lot. Sometimes it was just too much, and it was too much for me to just sit and try and work at schools. It was just easier for me to come home and work quietly on my own. But school was great. They thought it was brilliant. Like, I had one teacher that would call me a Tweety bird because I was always whistling when I saw her. Like, they all we all had our own inside jokes. Like, if they got called, because we had like medical, if medical got called, they'd be like, is it Nicole on the radio? And they were like, yeah, it's Nicole, she's wherever. And they're like, I'm on my way. Like, and it was great. We had their own little jokes. And even now, because also my brothers go to the same school, they were like, oh, we don't really get called out as much anymore.
So what about that then? Because you mentioned there about the Tweety bird and the whistling thing, and I read on a TikTok from you, Jodie, that whistling is a bit of a trigger for you.
Yeah.
Why? Do you know why?
I don't, because I don't know if it's, I don't know. To be honest, I don't really know. It's just very strange.
There are a few triggers, but see, the thing is, I was quite naive when I started my social media journey. And when I was putting the information out there, I was just trying to smash information, get people to understand, get people to learn. And I stupidly shared about triggers for Nicole. I've stopped doing that, other than telling people about the whistling, because it was so already nice. It is this, because now she gets recognised out and about. There are times when people purposely whistle to set her off, or it happened a few times at school, but they came down on them like a ton of bricks, and it never happened again.
So got on a lot of trouble, and then they never looked in my direction again.
But the point is, social media can be amazing for the platform that we've built and the education we can give, but also on the flip side can be actually quite damaging, because I think I was so naive that I thought everybody was like me and everybody would be understanding and everybody would be inclusive and all that sort of stuff. And actually to use somebody's trigger against them is savage. So we do share about the whistling, and like in the summer we've got like quite a lot of trees. We've got like an open field behind us. In the summer, if the back door's open and there's loads of birds tweeting, the birds can set you off too.
Because at first the birds didn't. And then it was one morning and I was going to college and the birds were chirping, and I got to the end of the road and I went, so then I was like, Mum, and she was like, you okay? I was like, the birds chirping, it set me off. I'm going to come home now. And she was like, okay. And that was it.
So, yeah.
Is there anything that can be done? Like, and genuinely, and again, this is my naivety asking, and I'm genuinely just asking questions now. But is there any way to, and control's not the right word now, but just to kind of try and keep things at ease?
So unfortunately for Nicole, there are absolutely, again, anybody who's listening who is thinking, oh my God, there's nothing can be done. We know a few people that have got tics. They maybe weren't as bad as yours. And Nicole, at the beginning of this journey, tried several different medications.
I wanted to be on something to help, because it was
a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there are medications that people can try, and there are medications that actually, for some people, can completely change their life and can maybe not control, like we're trying to say, but maybe suppress the tics without them having to do anything. It's just a medication. It dumbs it down and they're not ticking. So we did try several things, haven't we? Over the years we have. But unfortunately for Nicole, none of those have been, the side effects don't outweigh.
No.
And they haven't actually had.
I kind of just lost it at that point. I just was like, I'm not going on anything else. And Mum was like, okay, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Because obviously it's my choice. So she was like, you don't have to. I won't make you. If you think it's the right decision, you do what you think is right. And I was like, I'm not going on any other medication.
So, but there are things people can try. And especially with children, there's like childhood tics. So you can have tics when you're younger. I think it's like 1 in 100 children of school age can have tics. And then by the time they hit puberty, they can actually grow out of them. Like, it's very common. There is a lot of it happening. But unfortunately, Nicole's tics started at puberty. So it was literally the week of her 13th birthday. And they just haven't gone. And unfortunately, Tourette's is genetic. So it's anchoring somewhere. And it's just one of those things.
So that's what I was going to ask you then, because you did mention about head trauma there. So I thought that's where it came from. Am I wrong then? Did it just, and again, forgive me if I'm using the wrong, did it just appear?
Yeah.
Really? Just that, yeah?
Yeah, literally. It was pretty much an overnight situation when she was like shrugging her neck and her shoulders and like doing it.
I wasn't even aware that I was doing it.
She didn't know she was doing it.
I think majority of the time I'm pretty oblivious to life. So normally when I'm ticking, I don't even notice myself. Again, with the friend thing, a couple of my friends will like put they'll be like, oh, we're going to take a photo, and then they'll put this because they don't want to tell me, because they're like, I don't really want to tell you because I don't know if it's going to make you worse or not. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Some people tell me, some people just go, like mum will go, oh no. I'm like, what? And then I automatically know, but you don't really do it. Is that
no? Especially if we're out and she starts ticking, because
what I hear is
because then I go into mum overdrive of I have to manage all the situations as any mum does with any sort of child. So if we're in a pub and we've got plates and cups and glasses in front of us, I'll start gradually moving things away from because otherwise things get launched and like, I don't know, oh God, you do everything. You stab food, or you throw that people's plate, or she'll get a fork and stab someone's arm, or do you know? So like if we're somewhere out and we're as a family and she starts, I just sort of,
it looks like I beat my parents or like my because then we're all out together. Like if I was out with one of my friends, normally if like I'm ticking and I've raised an arm, everyone's like, oh my God, don't move, and like no one moves. But then sometimes I think my Tourette's does take the mick because they know that mum is scared. Sometimes I'll go like this, and then I'll keep going like that, going to do it, and then I won't do it. And then she's like,
I have to say, Chris, at the very beginning, because Nicole's got quite rare tics, and I didn't know, again, it's all been a massive learning curve for me. So at the very beginning, she started to tic, and it was tics talking to herself. So she was like, yes, no. I said yes. Well, I'm saying no. And I was like, oh my God, my child has like, yeah, I did just mimic it. I was like, oh my days, my child is like schizophrenic, or she's got like bipolar, or she's got like a borderline personality. Like, what is going on? So I emailed the like pediatrician. We had an amazing pediatrician at that point. She was fantastic. I emailed her and I was like, I'm really sorry to trouble you on a weekday. I know you're busy, but Nicole's got these like new tics that she's developed, and I'm really scared that they're not tics. What if they're like something else? Is my child got like, it was like there was two people talking to each other in her body, and it was the freakiest thing I've ever listened to. And she simply sent me back. She said, send me some videos. So I sent her some clips of stuff that I'd filmed. And she was like, Jodie, don't panic. There is nothing wrong with her. These are tics, albeit a little bit rarer than your normal tic, but she has nothing else going on. They are just tics. I was like,
just really rare, guys. So rare.
So what about then, Jodie, as a parent, right? Because our duty as parents is to, bring up our children, protect our children at all costs, that sort of stuff. And then your 13-year-old wakes up one day and...
broken. Very broken.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you said it. I didn't. At the beginning, when all this first happened, how did that affect you? How did you feel?
Well, I'll be honest, I was really lucky. I said before, my mum and dad live in Cyprus, but my mum was actually over visiting when this happened. And my mum has worked in the care sector for years and years and years. So she'd come into the kitchen. I was like, Mum, Nicole's like doing this weird thing with her shoulder and her head. Like, have you seen her doing it? She's like, yeah, I think she's got tics. And I was like, what is that? Like, what is that? She was like, I think you might have to video it and send it to the doctors. And I was like, yeah, but what is it? Like, what is happening? So I think I'm quite lucky that I had my mum, who was quite like knew things and understood things, etc. But for me, it was really scary. There was lots of times when I was like sat crying in the bathroom, sobbing into a towel so that my children wouldn't hear me. I was a single parent. It was really, really difficult because it was the next day after, when you didn't realise you were doing it, that your neck was hurting. And it was the fact it was actually physical pain now, and my child was in physical pain. And then she was getting upset that it wouldn't stop, because then she was aware she was doing it. And like any child, like any parent with a child that's got something wrong with them, you wish you could take it away from them, because that's, like you said, as a parent thing, it's a protectiveness. It's that, what can I do to fix this? How do you fix it? And ultimately, I couldn't have, all I did was go down a rabbit hole of research information, because after we'd seen the doctor, and unfortunately, by the time we'd got to a doctor's appointment, it was literally about a month or two before, or month before lockdown, the first ever lockdown. So at that point, obviously, seeing a doctor, you couldn't do, could you?
Yeah.
So that was really difficult. And they sent me a link just saying, yeah, she's got tics. Here's a link to the NHS website. And I was like, what? And now what? Like, what do I do now? Like, now what? So I did do a lot of research. I did go online. I did find our friend Ryan, who's got Tourette's, didn't I? He'd been on the telly and stuff. So I managed to message him, and he was really supportive. And I just went into mum mode of, I think I kind of switched off to like the worry. And I'm very much a fixer. I'm very much a problem solver, and I need to research and learn and know. I'm very much knowledge is power. So I was very learning this, learning that. Where's this? Where's that? What does this do? Is she going to grow out of it? Can this stop? But I just kind of like went into a bit of a mode of that. And when I realized this was something she's never going to grow out of, I then had to kind of get into Nicole's head, a bit like my son, he's autistic. I had to kind of try and say to Nicole, which is now a phrase you use yourself, which is quite nice, that these are the cards you've been dealt. You've just got to play them. There's no way around it. You do have your down days. We have our down days. But ultimately, we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we
have to aim to cry. You have to
have it, take it.
Like, sit, cry about it, feel sorry for yourself, next day move on.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of our mentality, isn't it?
But I think sometimes it is quite bad, because I just go, no, I'll be fine. Rather than the next day, you're just like, all right, Mom, like nothing happened.
Yeah. But it's not easy.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I can only imagine. That's literally the only thing I can do is imagine. Whereas, like, and Nicole, for you, I take it there's been a big journey of self-acceptance for you as well.
Oh yeah, still on it.
Yeah, but coming from like as a teenager with something like that, and now you're 18-year-old, you're an adult now. You know, you seem very happy within yourself, very very comfortable in yourself. But I can't imagine that's what it's been like the whole time.
No, I was very. It was a very rocky start. Obviously, when I turned 13, obviously started ticking. I was 13, we be in year 8, yeah, because I was in moved here to year 9, yeah. So I was in year 8, and I had a very big friend group, very big, and I was cut off like that. Didn't speak to me, they didn't want to speak to me. There was a lot of arguments. When I left the school and moved down here, I got messages from a couple of girls I stayed in contact with, and there was, it's horrible to think about, but there was people that were like taking the piss out of me, that were ultimately it was people saying she was faking, because people can't understand how you can go from not being a person that ticks one day to having it was every shit, and then I got cut off by a couple of people, like family. But then I just think it's funny now. I just think it's quite funny, because some of the people that used to take the piss out of me best me being like, hey babe, how are you? And I'm like, I know what you did.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you then. So because all these people had cut you off and, that was it, you were done. But now all of a sudden, you guys have got what? Sorry, I know I said it wrong the other day, right? 2.9 million followers.
Yeah, she's got 1 million followers, yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna guess here, right? But I'm assuming a few of them have maybe a few of their heads have cropped up now.
Yeah, you do get that. Yeah, you get a little bit. I just don't reply. I leave them on red. I forget it. Yeah.
That's the best way to be, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it was at the start. I didn't want to leave the house. I just wanted to stay inside. And then when I moved here, it was a fresh start, and I was welcomed with open arms with the school, and I made so many new friends.
But I think we did it the right way, because there's again, for anybody listening, there is a great charity called Tourette's Action Charity. And they were brilliant for me as a resource of information. They have a whole education department, and I went to them before we went to the new school, and they were able to supply the school with like a PowerPoint presentation for the rest of the students. So did a whole list before Nicole got to school. they did a whole school assembly to talk about Tourette's and kind of explain that a student was joining them that had Tourette's. And I think that was the best thing the school have done. Yeah. And I do think that more things like that, if you have a student, I don't know, that is even autism or whatever it is, there should be an assembly every so often to try and kind of understand the disability that they have, so that people, it's more of an explanation then, because I think we expect children to just understand because our child has got that problem. So therefore they understand, their brothers and sisters understand, but not other people. Like there's not necessarily other children that understand because they don't have it. So therefore talking about these things is the right way forward, I think.
And this takes me very nicely to social media, because both of you have got a cracking following on social media. I'm just sitting down in the trenches with my 7,000, but
I love it.
but you guys have done so well with this and raising so much awareness of it. And I will talk about the other side of things just in a minute, but I do want to ask about the positive side of things. You know, you're letting a lot of people know. Have you got any kind of stories out there, like of people that maybe have contacted you and said, you know, this is you've helped me so much, or you know, like some of the nice stuff on social media?
We get loads, and I think we don't share a lot of those things because it's someone else's story. So we get lots of messages, or I get lots of messages, mostly from parents on my Instagram, which is absolutely fine. My DMs are open. And we have supported a number of families over the years, haven't we? Mostly with younger children, like 9, 10, 11, that are struggling.
Hang on a second. Is it important? No, we just come in and say hello. Right, quick wave, and then we can go.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, this is Summer. This is my middle one. You can't really see her, can you?
No.
Like, quickly come in and say hello. There we go. This is Summer.
Hi.
Yeah, as Nicole and Jodie. She was. I was saying to her that I was talking to somebody with Tourette's, and she went, "Is it Billie Eilish?" Like, no, it isn't. It's not been. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Right.
I mean, we could tag her in this, and we could sing.
Yeah. Right. I'll speak to you later. Okay. Bye bye. Now that goes to prove anything. I am literally sitting in a cupboard at the bottom of my stairs that I've turned into a studio. So this is.
I love that.
You know, where were we before she said what?
So we get.
Oh yeah, social media.
Really good positive stuff. So we've worked with quite a few families now over the years. Some families have had children that are feeling upset or worried, and they've seen Nicole, and she gives them encouragement. And could we talk? We've done millions of Zoom calls that people have on FaceTimes with kids, so that they can kind of talk to Nicole and they don't feel so alone then. And as a parent, I mean, I had a lady message me today and she's like, oh my God, watching your videos has really helped me because it's helped me understand how to talk to my child. And what I will say to any parent is it's communication. If you've got a good foundation with your child for communication anyway, then for me, I was led by Nicole all the way through this. She probably doesn't really realise, but when she was younger, I would ask her what she wants me to do. Do you want me to ignore the tics? Like, how are you feeling? Would you like me to laugh at it? Because sometimes it's just unhelpable not to laugh. You can't, that was not a word, but you can't.
I get you though.
But laugh. So I don't.
So funny.
So I'm like, how do you feel? And I had to be led by how she was feeling that day about her tics. And so all the parents I speak to, I tell them you need to lead by what your child is feeling and make sure you're speaking to them about how they feel, because it's a very dark place and I'm sure it's very isolating as a child. But we have had lovely stories. There was a guy the other day, I don't want to say his name, but his son, who we Zoomed a few times, and he was about 11 or 12 at the time. And fortunately for him, he's hit 13, 14 and his tics have all gone. They've all gone.
Oh, wow.
He's grown out of them. So for them, they just needed that little bit of support, a little bit of, it's not even like I do anything. I think it's just knowing someone else is there that gets it.
I think it's really sweet though. I love it. I think whenever I go into like my Instagram DMs, I normally get like a good couple paragraphs of people and they're like, hey, I know you might not read this, but can you please, like, do you think we could have a FaceTime call? I'm really struggling at the moment. I've got Tourette's, but you've been really helping me and I just wanted to have a conversation. And I'm more than happy to do that, whether that's like 3 hours on the phone or like a 10-minute phone call. To me, it's nice because once I was in that position where I was so desperate to have friends because I didn't have any, and I didn't have anyone that understood me. So to me,
I'll just start. Oh, that's now my door going. Sorry, bear with.
It's all right.
So like I completely understood how they felt so isolated, because you do get a lot of messages of people being like, hey, do you think we could talk for 10 minutes? Like, I'm not feeling too great. But then you also get the really nice messages of like, thank you so much for posting. Like, you've made me more confident and I don't feel scared to go outside. It is nice to receive those messages.
And how do you feel that you're having such an impact on people's lives like that? And the reason I bring this up, and this is where I always get criticised for this in my interviews, because when I talk to people, I always try and relate it back to me. It's not that I'm relating it back to me. It's just that
It's all about you, Chris.
yes, it is. It's all about me. This is it. This is my anyway. But I like when I hear something, I know that I've been through something similar. Then I know I want to try and just get that across. And the reason I bring that up to you, Nicole, is obviously you see this belt here behind me, this wrestling belt I've got here. That was sent to me from a parent of a child who had read my book, which is up here. I don't know if you know about my book. I'm going to tell you about it.
Tell me.
Those things are dropping. Lucy's Blue Day.
Okay.
All right, so it's a children's mental health book. It's okay to have a blue day. That's the whole premise of the book. Before COVID, I used to travel all over the country, visit schools and talk to kids about that sort of thing. So this dad, whose 8-year-old girl was on suicide watch at this point, 8 years old, right? I went to the school. I interacted with the child, signed her book, all that sort of stuff, and I met hundreds of kids that day. So nothing really stood out to me, but I had a wee chat with her, and then the dad sent me a message to say that essentially I saved his daughter's life, which then that pressure kind of just, I can't be responsible for that. That's not, and that's the reason I brought it up to you, Nicole, like being so young and helping so many kids and people of that age. Is there a sense of pressure for you in that, or are you just taking it as you go and just like, this is awesome?
To be honest, I don't really realise how I do it. In my head, I don't think I do, because I'm just posting what I go through. And I think when I read the messages, it genuinely, there has been a couple of times where I've got a little bit watery, because it's emotional, like to have someone message you being like, hey, like I've been really struggling recently, and it's been really nice that every time I see you post, it's nice. And I don't feel any form of pressure or anything. It's just really nice, because I've always been like, in my comments and stuff, like someone will be like, I feel like we're on FaceTime, and I'm like, well, we are. I just can't see you. Like, and I try and have that like little bond.
Love that.
Where like they can talk to me. When I've had like people message me, and it's like about like silly things, like I'm going to school next week and I'm going to a new school. Like, what do you advise? Like, and it's really nice that like people feel like they can talk to me about that, and it's actually quite heartwarming. I can't lie, it's really nice.
Yeah, and it must be good to know that somebody for your age, 18 years old, you know, that you're having such an effect on other people's lives as well. And not many 18-year-olds can say that.
I actually don't think she realises.
Yeah.
I don't think she actually realises how much of an impact it's made on other people and young people. I think she's very humble, and I don't think she quite grasps the enormity of the impact she has made, to be fair. Which I think is really a good thing, because it's, you know, like when someone knows something about it, there is no air of arrogance. There is no, do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a good thing, because she's still very grounded, and she's still very normal, and she's still very, this is our lives and this is what we have to deal with every day. So I think that's all good, positive things.
Awesome. And speaking of dealing with things every day, now you've got a massive following on social media, and with all the positivity, obviously does come some negativity as well. I've seen, particularly you, Jodie, how you deal with some of the negativity, and when you just pretty much just shine a light on it and go, here, look at this idiot right here who said this stupid thing, and then it goes like, I think there was something to do with Botox, was it? You were getting Botox or something, and somebody said, whose money are you spending? And it's like, whose business is that anyway?
I'm down. The thing is, though, my whole family, my husband is like, please don't reply to them. Just leave it. Just ignore it. And so I'm very up and down. Like, I had a down day a couple of days ago, and all the comments, you know how like you get the review ones to review whether or not they're okay. A lot of my review comments are horrible. Like, they're horrible. And so I'm just clicking delete. And half the time I don't even read them now because they are just nasty. So I was having a really shitty day, and then I must have posted something that had obviously pissed on the wrong person, and I was just getting all these horrible comments. And actually that day I was really sad and really angry and really emotional and like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm sick of, I can't deal with this anymore. And then the next day I woke up and I got a stupid comment, and then I replied with my normal sarcasm. So she's just so... They all cringe as soon as I reply to hate. They panic.
She's just, or she'll go, Nicole! And I'm like, yeah. She's like, God, TikTok, look what I posted, it's brilliant. I was like, oh God, okay. And then I'll see it's just a video of someone being like, where'd you get that money from? And she's like, money. And you're like, no, Jodie, that's not. I just can't. And I think it's so funny. Like, my friends will message me and they're like, have you seen what Big Joe's posted? And I'm like, no. And they're like, go look. And then it's just my mum like, I can't, or it's like someone saying something that she's like, are you thick or are you just naturally stupid? And I'm like, oh, okay, Josie. Okay.
I think that because I like the sarcasm element. People follow me because I am like normal, relatable, genuine. I am what you get. Like, if you see line and the personality traits that I hope that I bring across are exactly how I am.
She's 100% worse person in real life.
So I feel like that is the way I deal with it. Sometimes I'll ignore it, and other times I'll just use humor and sarcasm to kind of be like, you're a moron.
We're very different with the
Nicole's just like, ignore.
I'm just thinking, I get the like, go kill yourself and that lot. So I just get that, and she just gets, so you're using this for money, and I get to go kill yourself. And I'm like, okay then. Or like random ones. It's just, the hate comments are crazy. Like, at 13, I was getting told to go throw myself in front of a car because I'm not wanted, because I'm disabled. But I think at that point, I'd already hit my breaking point of going through so much. So, like, having a couple of comments from random people didn't affect. But there was a couple of times where we then said, like, I was like, I don't think we can do this anymore.
This was when we'd been on a while, and this was kind of our video that blew us up, didn't it? She was being live. She was being called a freak, and she was being called stupid and a fake and all these things. And it was awful. And it was at that point that we sat and had a discussion of whether or not social media was a place for us to be. I think maybe I had like 80 or 90,000 followers maybe at that point. And pretty much overnight, it just blew up.
Like, both, I said to Mama, I was like, you know what? Let's just keep trying. If it's not good, we'll finish.
It was a case of my mum. I've had lots of things happen to me in the past, and my mum was very much a person of like, you either let this like break you down and ruin you, or you make these things make you a stronger person and you fight. So I kind of feel like that I've got that kind of mentality, and that's kind of what I've instilled on you a little bit. But at the same time, I was very conscious of her being so young, being on social media, and it potentially being something that would destroy her. So I had to be very aware. So again, communication, making sure I was talking to her. If she was upset, if she was worried about being on social media, do we not post this? Let's not post that for the moment. Let's just talk about it. So it was very much a discussion of whether or not we stay, because at that point we had already started to get good comments and positivity about people that we were helping. So I was kind of a mentality of, Nicole, it's entirely up to you, but right this second, you've already helped these people. So just think what you could do to all the other people that you could help. And you're letting one or two horrible people ruin it for everybody else that you could make it for. So we stayed, didn't we? And then we just kept punching on. But Nicole, very much on her own page, doesn't post a lot of Tourette's. She is very normal teen life, very normal, like day-to-day life, aren't you? And yours, fashion, hair, makeup, like getting ready.
Then I've got my own stuff, you know, with my jewelry brand and stuff. I don't really post about that. Sometimes I do, like sometimes, because obviously it's a part of me. But I think I wouldn't want to make it my entire personality. So I'm very like, I'll post about it, and like have discussions, and we do lives about it, answering questions and stuff, but I don't like posting too much about it in that sense.
Yeah, because you don't want it to just be Tourette's. Because I'm already...
And it's funny you say that now, given that we're so far into this now, and I'm very aware of the time.
Oh, you're fine, fine.
But that's something that is that obviously is quite important to you. Then is the fact, you know, like Tourette's doesn't define you, Nicole. It's not, you know, your name isn't Nicole Tourette's. It's, you know, it's I'm going to assume, I'm always going to assume what your last name is, because, you know, life, you know. Anyway, but so tell me more then. Tell me more about you, about Nicole, not Nicole with Tourette's. Like, who is Nicole?
Nicole Dyer is
You're very creative.
do you think?
Yeah, you're very bubbly. She has been able to, again, play the cards that she's been dealt and utilize her platform to... She wasn't able to continue with college.
I did a year of college. I did health and social care for a year, got all the qualifications and stuff, but I wasn't really there. So I wanted to go do something else. And obviously I was still doing TikTok. And then we got messaged by
A jewelry company.
yeah, and they messaged us, and they were gonna like do my mum's wedding rings, but she didn't read the message in time. So we then got chatting, and we all got talking, and then we decided to do a collab together and do like some jewelry together. And now we're second collection down.
Yeah.
So
she's building her own brand, her own business. Nicole is, you know, being...
I'm pain free. I fell asleep during a tattoo.
Yeah, she did. She was ticking the whole way there. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a disaster, her having this tattoo. Tattoo artist completely aware. He'd booked out the whole day specifically.
Oh, amazing.
Just in case. Like, he's brilliant, Dave, isn't he? He's lovely. So we'd booked it all out, but he didn't have to have any of her ticks, because by the time we got there, she'd been ticking. It took us 4.5 hours to get there. So by the time we'd got there, she'd been ticking all the way up there in the car, that she got in his chair. The sun was coming through the window. She was asleep having her first tattoo.
This like thing all fit.
That is amazing.
So
Oh, that is so good. Was it a reason why you chose that artist then? Well, because obviously if he's that far away, you know, is there a specific reason why you went to that artist?
So I went to him originally because he did the specific type of tattoo that I wanted. He did like the watercolor, the splash color, which I wanted, because I had a memorial piece done. And so he did that for me like 4 years ago or something, didn't he? But because he is the most kind, gentle, but also an amazing tattoo artist, he kind of fitted the bill for everything for Nicole. So when I messaged his wife and was like, do you think Dave would be all right doing this with Nicole? He does the right style of tattoos. Like, he also does like the realism type things, like what she wanted. So I was like, yeah, I think you're best off going to Dave. And Dave was more than happy to accommodate and take his time with Nicole, and knew about her Tourette's and stuff. So
he was great.
yeah, so it is things like that. We do have to plan, but you can't plan because there's no schedule or routine or timing when she starts ticking. So yeah, we kind of blanked out the whole day, didn't we, just in case. But thankfully, by the time you got there, you'd stop ticking.
But so basically, I have a high pain tolerance.
So there's something about tattoos, isn't there, nowadays? Because I think growing up, certainly when I was growing up, tattoo parlors were scary places, you know, and tattoo people were scary people. You're big beardy men with tattoos. That's quite scary. But nowadays, I find that like tattoo parlors are very inclusive. Very kind. They feel like they've got kind people in them, and I think that's. I mean, you found yourself in a tattoo chair at 18, getting all that done. You know, there's something really special about tattooing, about kind of body art and stuff as well.
Yeah, again, and I think that's your creativity.
So I've grown up around tattoo. Like, mum's coming at them. My dad's got like a bit of a sleeve done there. So you know, I've obviously grown up around it, and I've always wanted a tattoo. And then it came into conversation about it, and I was like, so then she was on my 18th, can I have one? I thought, so yeah, and then you got to do a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, he let me.
No way, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, can we see? Where did you get to do?
So she got so I got lilies because they're my favorite flower. So my mum, this is my mum. So I got 4 butterflies, one for dad, one for mum, one for Jane, and one for Freddie. This one's my mum. She just did the little black
The body. I did the body.
And then my dad did the body there. So that's my dad's flower. My butterfly. That's my mum's. Freddie's. And then Jaden's is there.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah. But how did that feel for you then?
I was scary. I was like, Dave, if I fuck this up, I was like, no, listen to me. You're going to be fine. You won't fuck it up.
No one said anything to me though. No one was like...
No, you were asleep. That was all right. These don't like wake you up.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. So yeah, I was scared. And then I was like, Dave, I'm clearly a tattoo artist now. So, you know.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And is that sort of like, in terms of creativity, because obviously your mum keeps saying how creative you are, like you've got your jewellery designs, anything else that you do, like in terms of artistic and anything like that to kind of help get that creative...
Drawing wise, she's shockingly shit. So when they do the design, she's like when she was younger, she did a lot of poetry.
Still do.
Yeah, a lot of poetry. Yeah. You were reading a lot. I was reading.
Yeah, and then I just kind of stopped, made it my own, like a little thing that I did on my own. Doing the steroid sort of shit out poetry.
And then obviously your TikTok's a good way to get that creative side out as well.
Yeah, like she used to dance a lot, but unfortunately Tourette's kind of spoiled that for you a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was a lot. So I just
she started to struggle, and then I think she got a little bit in her own head about it. That every time she would go to dance, she was ticking, and so then
it sucked because at first it was fine because I was able to dance through it and there was no problem. And then the last couple of times I just couldn't do it, and I was just like, Mum, I can't do this right now. And the teacher would be like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go outside for a minute. She's like, okay, like, let me go if you need me. And I just couldn't do it. And the thing is, I get frustrated with myself because there's certain things in the day that I can't do. Like, I can't cook for myself sometimes. I can't, like, sometimes I have to make sure that the door is, like, open a little bit for the shower just in case I fall. If I drop something, I have to yell, I'm okay. Just so everyone knows that you're all right. But it's so... I was going to say like dehumanizing. It's not dehumanizing. It's annoying and it's frustrating that I can't do things my own because I'm quite independent.
That's what I was going to say. It's more about independence, isn't it? And you struggle.
I do get quite annoyed sometimes when someone's like, do you need help? And I'm like, no, I'm doing this on my own. Like I want to do it on my own because then I feel better because I don't want to feel like I'm being like, you know, but I'm being like cared for. Like I want to do it, but sometimes I can't.
It's silly things like brushing your teeth. That like normal people, using the word loosely, take for granted to just go and brush your teeth. Well, your girl, when she's ticking, could take her nearly half an hour at times to brush her teeth because she's like throwing the toothbrush, then she's got to go and pick it back up, and then she's got to wash it, and then she's got to try and put the toothpaste on, and she'll throw the toothpaste. Or
it is annoying. Like, but even at school, I did food tech for GCSE, and there was one day, and some of my friends were in there, and my hands were locked like this because of my FOD. And I was ticking still, and I got a jar, and my friend Godfrey was like, do you need me to open that? I was like, because I couldn't do it, because I was like, then there was like a solid like half an hour, and Annabelle was coming back, and she was like, mate, do you need me to open that? And I was like, no, I'm doing it on my own. And she was like, Nicole, you can't do it. I was like, no, I can. So I'm like standing there like trying to open this jar.
Oh, mate.
Solid shut, and I was getting really frustrated and angry because I wasn't able to do it on my own. And then they ended up coming over and they're like, right, we'll just say you did it, yeah? They go, they're like, you did it, and okay, it's fine, you did it. I did. I was so frustrated.
So what's the long-term plan for both of you then? You know, obviously you'll get quite you'll get a big social media following, and that's taking a long time to build, but it's doing things for you now, and you're getting the message out there. But what's the long-term plan in terms of, I guess, life for both of you? Nicole, you got your jewelry. Have you got other plans in terms of learning or career that you're willing to share?
I honestly don't even know what to do tomorrow.
I love that.
I'm very like, I'll just take it as it goes. Like and it sounds really sad. I'll probably still be with my son at 25. But the thing is, I think even that, like, obviously it's been a couple conversations that I've had with my friends or whatever. And it's been the conversation of like, are you going to move out? That actually gives me so much anxiety. I actually think about it and I don't think I'll be able to ever live on my own. Like, I genuinely don't. And I don't think I think that'd be so stressful. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to finish social media. I don't know if I'm going to continue it. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm taking it day by day, really. Obviously, I love doing social media. I love my jewelry brand. So to me, I'm just seeing what happens. You never know. Just see what's happening.
And if you do end up living on your own, just do me a favour and don't get a budgie, okay? Just
don't. That'd be the worst pet
just
to get.
don't get a budgie.
My mum and dad got a parrot, and they rang us, and they just forget. They forget because they don't live with Nicole all the time, and they don't speak her all the time because they live in another country. They forget. And so my dad rang Nicole with this parrot and was like, "You know what we got?" This parrot's tweeting away.
I was like, Papa, stop! And then I put the phone down, and he was like, what? So confused. I was like, no, I can't. And he was like, I'm so sorry, darling. I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about it.
As I hang on a second, sorry. Yes, it's my youngest now. Come in quickly. No, okay, what would you need? What do you need? Where's dinner?
When your parents run.
Right, well, we'll talk about that in a wee minute, okay? I'll be out shortly, don't worry. Jim, when's dinner?
It's the typical when you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Your parents when you're on the phone as a parent, kids are like screaming in the background.
But you see the difference how he's like on the phone. I did see a
I do the out. I do the.
Oh, I've been there. Oh, don't you? Listen, I have been there. I have done that. You know, that's a. But I'm also very aware. I've got 2 cameras on me right now, and
yeah, you got. Whereas when you're on the phone, you can't see my face. So I'm like,
beat it. Come on, beat it.
Yeah.
Right, Jodie. What about you then? Have you got a long-term plan? Are you planning just keeping going with the social media?
I think for the minute I'm going with the social media. I don't know where it will lead and what it will lead to. I've kind of got a stable, steady flow of income from it, and it means that I'm able to be at home and be more flexible with life, which was ultimately, I mean, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't the job I had. I was unemployed in between because I was homeless, etc. And then obviously COVID hit. But at that point, I was training to be a drug detection dog handler.
Okay.
So I have my SIA license and I just completed everything, and I was literally just at the point where I was doing it, and then Nicole started ticking, and I was just like, I feel awful for it. But it just meant I can't do I couldn't do any sort of job that would, because I couldn't be reliable, and because I've been self-employed, because I've worked for so many companies and done different things all of my life. I've always worked since the age of 13. I didn't want to be a person that was unreliable and get to work and be like, sorry, I've got to leave again because my kid needs me. Because I feel like that's more annoying to somebody than just not going. So I didn't work. Social media blew up and I kind of fell into it, and I've just kind of stuck with it. And I actually don't see myself doing anything else at the moment. I want to create some things myself. I've got a few ideas and thoughts of things going on. I'm it's steady and I'm happy, and whilst people are still receptive of me, hang about.
And your relationship, I mean, the two of you, just looking at you, I mean, we sat here for, no, don't leave her hanging, come on.
Sorry, I didn't.
There we go. Your relationship's excellent. You can see that you two get on so well. I assume there may be, you know, just the odd wee shut up every now and again, you know, behind closed doors. But generally, from what I'm seeing right now, I mean, you guys, you've got such a cool, solid relationship, and that's something that should be applauded as well, especially like between mum and daughter. You know, my 3 are, you know, they're constantly bickering with their mum, but you know, it's just. That's how it is, isn't it?
No, we've had our times. We've had our patches, haven't we? Where we do that in typical teenage stupidity, and I'm like, you have to still parent and still do those things. But ultimately, you know, I think we do have a good relationship. I like to think that all of my children I have that kind of relationship with, and I think
good.
I think that's come from the fact that I was a single mum for quite a while.
So like we can, if there's some form of drama, I'm like, Jodie, gather, there is drama to spill, and she's like, spill now, go. Like, and it is nice that we have that like relationship where we can have a little the drama sesh. Yeah, they are good at parties.
Yeah. Cup of tea.
I love it. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, people already know where to find both you guys, but I'm going to ask the same question I ask people with 50 followers. You know, where can we find you guys on social media?
I'm being honest, I don't actually know my username.
So mine is Jodie_Lynn official. That is TikTok. That is my main one. But I've also got Instagram, which is Jodie Lynn official. And I have a YouTube, but that's a slow growth on that.
So my TikTok is Nicole.Dyer official, and then my Instagram is Nicole_Dyer.
There we go. Sorted. Listen, guys, thank you. I really, really enjoyed myself, and I keep looking at the time, and I'm like, I don't want to stop talking, but I know my kids are in there waiting on me.
We'll have to see what comments you get, and we'll do a round 2 and answer the comments or questions.
Oh yeah, 100%. Any negative comments, I'll just send over to you to reply, right?
Yeah. Because she'll be brutal.
And that's it for today's episode of The Peer Project. A massive thank you and massive love to Nicole and Jodie for being so open, so funny, and just themselves. What a joy. Now, if you're new here, I really hope that you stick around. There's plenty more where this came from. Proper conversations, big feelings, and a lot of love. And if you're one of the amazing folk who watches, listens, and comments and shares, thank you. It means, actually, you don't know how much it means. Honestly, it means so much that people feel my content is shareable. Honestly, I love it. To the supporter club, you're the reason that I can keep doing this. And if you're still listening and thinking, you know what, I could sign up, then please do. Be the stranger that makes my week. All right. Don't forget, reviews, shares, and comments are like gold dust. They genuinely help us grow. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, you are you, and you are great, just the way you are.